But let's start where we have been kind of resonating in, and that's that 2 Chronicles 7 verse 13 says, "If I shut up the skies so that there is no rain, and I order locusts to devour the land, or I send an epidemic of sickness among my people, then if my people who bear my name will humble themselves and pray, seek my face, and turn from their evil ways, I will hear from heaven, forgive their sin, and heal their land." I am humbling myself. I'm inviting you to humble yourself and pray. As I've kind of leaned in and began to study these verses, or this verse, and then that word prayer, or to pray, I've learned a few things. It means to intervene. It means to mediate. That first reference is actually when Abraham begins his journey and starts heading towards Jerusalem and Israel as we know it today. One of the first things he does is screws up, man. He enters a nation, and because he's worried about his safety, he gives his wife to the king of that location. And obviously God doesn't dig that and is redirecting him, and the king hears from God. It says, "Give back Abram's wife and have Abram pray, mediate, intervene for you." And that's exactly what happens. And Amalek's kingdom is healed. And some of the things that they were experiencing, the epidemic that was coming upon their little tribe. And I just think that's absolutely profound. But really what I want to focus on today is at the end of Genesis, in chapter 48, we see the ending, really the end of the story of Israel, the person. And it correlates with and is connected with Joseph. Now, you know Joseph from the coat of many colors. When he was a young boy, he was sold into slavery. And as he was sold into slavery, obviously he had this long life and some ups and downs and some deep valleys and some high mountains. And at the end of this story, he finds out that his father has become ill. And so he brings his sons to his father that he hasn't seen for years to bless his sons. So Joseph walks into a scene with Israel, and Israel says this in verse 11. He says, "I never expected to see you again, but God has allowed me to see your children too." Now, in our version, what we don't see is that word expect is actually the same word that we read in 2 Chronicles that says pray. Israel, in essence, is saying, I didn't even intervene, I didn't even mediate, I didn't even pray for this, but God has done this. And I wanted to share this with you today because this is the God we serve. We serve a God that does way more than we will ever ask for, way more than we could ever dream of. And so in these moments, how much more will God respond to those who humble themselves and pray and ask? So at the end of Genesis, there's this really, really strong statement. I didn't even expect, I didn't even pray for this, but this happened. Now, what if we would be people who begin to ask, begin to expect, begin to intervene and mediate for this world, for the health of people, but yet also for more than just health, for people to come to the knowledge of Jesus Christ, to walk into a relationship and find that joy and find that hope and the peace that God wants for them. God bless you.